I'm a talkative person. Because I'm an SE dom, it's like my only world is the physical. My words are the only means of me getting out my meaning and intention. We'll see if I eat those words.
Should be entertaining others all the time.
This is exactly where I wanted to go with this. I would not dare to fist bump on a podcast where people can hear me. You guys ready to go?
Yeah, keen.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Literally No Subtext podcast. I am here with my good friend, the ENFJ Laith, and he's very excited to be here. He's beaming with his face. Aren't you, Laith?
I am.
Yes.
Very
Would you
excited.
like to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody.
You weren't expecting that question.
I'm Laith. I'm so excited to be here. I'm Kristen's biggest fan. Jokes. I'm sure there's lots of big fans on the podcast. But Kristen is one of my besties, and it's literally I've been anticipating this my whole life.
Okay.
That feels like a little bit of a toxic Effie statement.
I'm being
Just trying to people please right now, right?
Well, consider the people pleased.
I'm expecting messages post this podcast of people being like, your statement at the start really pleased me. I'll drop my personal email address at the end.
All right, we have already gone crazy. So we're going to jump right in. You guys asked some questions on the interwebs, on my Instagram, for an ENFJ. That is Laith. He's going to answer the questions. He's very excited. There were many, many questions. I've limited it to 64. Don't know if we'll have time for that today. This is an NI user interview. So Laith is going to want to deep dive into every question. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
With that said, let's get started.
Disclaimer.
Oh, love it.
I've thought about this already. I'm convinced that NE users and FI users will ramble more than me. I'm determined to keep my answers succinct.
I love how you've clearly thought about this. Like, am I going to be a rambler?
thought about it.
Succinct. Let's do it,
We
guys. Let's hold him to that. Question number 1. What is it like to be an ENFJ?
Jeez.
Deliberately broad question.
Terrifying. Okay, let's make it short. So to fulfill my promise. As an ENFJ, it is constantly a battle between wanting to fix everybody. How bad is that? And knowing that they don't need fixing. That everyone is literally already fabulous. I mean, I actually believe that. I already believe everyone is fabulous. But I want everyone to be more fabulous, and I want to facilitate their growth.
Oh, I love that.
But I need to remember to also, have some personal boundaries and not sacrifice myself all the time for other people. That's a constant struggle.
Oh, fair. Well, you did manage to sum that up succinctly in, I think that was just less than a minute. Well done.
Come on down.
Come on
Wait
down.
till the nuanced questions come on. It'll be 3 seconds.
Okay. Question number 2. How well do you understand the cognitive functions?
Good question. The ones that I use, I understand fairly well. Some of the ones I don't use, like SI, I still struggle with. But in terms of abstract theory, I would say maybe like a 7 out of 10. I know them. I can explain them pretty well to people.
Yeah, nice.
Most people ask me questions about them.
For context, Laith and I have talked a lot about MBTI.
lot.
Like he does know a lot about it.
Yeah.
In comparison to Sarah in the last interview, who didn't know so much. But
Okay, fair.
me
Fair,
just
fair,
taking
fair.
a shot at Sarah casually.
Sorry,
Sarah, I love you.
Yeah, shout out to Sarah.
Okay, next question. What are some untrue, or at least untrue for you, stereotypes of your type?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You're like, they're all true.
Okay, literally everyone you've portrayed on your channel has been accurate. I don't want to lay claim to it, but I'd like to think I've influenced a little bit of your perception of the ENFJ.
Of course you have.
Most of my perception of the stereotypes come from your channel, but I know that in general ENFJs are stereotyped as being the psychologists, and I have met ENFJs who are not psychologists, and ENFJs who don't.
Just wish they were psychologists.
Probably. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure they would. I think it's like ENFJs can have the qualities of ENFJ without needing to go into mental health / they don't need to diagnose everyone that they meet, right? I do, but that's just because I love psychology. Not to fulfill stereotypes.
No, but also to fulfill. So I got the unpacking hands, the tent fingers. The tent fingers, as we called them. Someone in the comments called them the steeple fingers, where we make like the steeple with the fingers. How good. Laith and I coined that together.
We did.
And we do this thing where, actually, it's really hard to do without the visuals. But basically, Laith and I take the steeple fingers, the tent fingers, and we amplify them times 1,000 every time we see each other. Mm-hmm. Anyway. And anytime there's something that happens when we're together in a conversation and someone says something that's unpackable, we'll just kind of look at each other and subtly do the tent fingers.
Or we'll say case study.
Yeah, we'll be like, case study. Okay. Do you think you fit into the unpacking therapist stereotype?
Oh, no, not at all. I'd like to think I'm diverse and different. But no, absolutely. 1,000%. Literally, since I was like 11, people have been like, oh my gosh, you're such a good listener and you're so good at like helping me fix my problems. I've been a psychologist since before I studied psychology.
Oh, I love that. Yes, context, Laith studied psychology, everyone.
That's right.
No surprises. Everyone in the audience, I feel like, is like, this makes sense. Kristen's videos make sense now. All right, next question. Powering on through. How would you explain FE to someone who didn't understand it? In other words, FE for dummies.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd say FE is being like hyper aware of other people's needs and wanting to cater towards that. I'm trying to think of both ENFJs and ESFJs because I know Liv and I present pretty different.
Liv is our ESFJ friend.
Yeah. But we both use FE. I'd say, like we talked about it today, the first way I react is like, how is everybody else going? Like we were in a restaurant today and we were talking about something real deep.
Real deep!
I should have been prioritizing the deep conversation, but instead I was like, maybe we should like move because there's a line at the door.
I'm sorry, did you verbalize it or did you passive aggressively look into the background as I was trying to talk to you about my deep
No,
thought?
I just like got glazed eyes and I started like I was giving head nods, but I wasn't attending like I usually do.
Absolutely, you were not attending. Laith had well and truly signed out. He had left the building.
I had left.
I could see the very moment you glazed over because you were paying attention to something in the background.
Oh
I
my
saw your
gosh.
eyes wander and I was like, there's something happening behind me to do with
Seriously.
someone being uncomfortable
Yeah.
or like some social situation that's got Laith concerned. And then I said to Laith, I was like, okay, you've clocked out. What's happening behind me? And he was like, how did you know?
I was like, oh my
Like,
gosh, you got me again.
And it was because he was thinking like, we were staying at the table for too long. There was the line building up and people should be able to come in and take our seats.
The waiters were coming around being like, can I take your plates? Or just taking them, not even asking. Like, they were giving us all the signals of it's time to go.
I literally didn't notice anything.
I was noticing everything. I was so hyper-focused.
I was too focused on my own story. Classic. Come on down. Yeah. So as Laith said, the very first thing he was paying attention to, which is FE, right? You're paying the very first thing you're paying attention to in all circumstances is the needs of the group. That's the first thing you pay attention to and first thing you notice. Classic me summing up what you said.
Needs to re-explain / perfect or improve my explanation.
Classic me. All right, next question. Do people often realize that you can / are reading them? What is their reaction?
You know what? Too often they do realize that I'm reading them. And I kind of hate it because I don't want them to perceive that I am analyzing them. I just want them to feel like I'm listening, like I'm a listener. Yeah. And I'm there for them if they want. But one of my good friends, I met his girlfriend for the first time a couple months ago. And she was talking to me and I was just asking questions about her life. And after a while she goes, oh my gosh, I've never opened up this much to someone before. I feel like you're really understanding me. And then she was like, are you analyzing me? And up to that point, I was like, yes. Then I was like, no!
I gave it away!
I know. I pathologized.
Listen, you are just naturally so good at it. If it's any consolation, though, when I first met you, before I knew who you were in essence and your psychologistness,
Perfect.
one time Laith was just like, Kristen, like your faith, your Christian faith is really important to you. Like, let's have coffee sometime and you can talk to me about it. And I talked to you for 5 hours about my faith, just essentially monologuing. I had
Yes, it
no
was
idea
so
that you
good.
were analysing me. I was just talking. You were probably analysing me. Here's me thinking like, oh wow, I'm really getting through to this guy about God.
I wasn't analysing you. I was just listening. Probably. I mean,
Okay,
I
you
thought
guys
we'd come up
can't
with
see,
a
but
couple of-
Laith has just extended a hand to make
I'm like
me feel loved.
almost on the shoulder patting, but
I was listening
I
to
missed.
you. I mean, you did miss. Okay, next question. What do you think would make the world a better place? I knew this would be
Oh my gosh.
succinct,
Oh,
right?
like the world. Everyone needs to go to a therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Not just because I'm one, but because literally everyone I've talked to who has been to one has said it was such a good life decision.
100%.
And people need to be open, just have more open minds about things. Be open to listening to different opinions and different beliefs. Because I think, yeah, I'm going to leave it there.
You were about to
Could ramble, but won't.
You're like, I'm tempted. I won't. This is how we can confirm he is in fact an NI user. All right.
Also,
Next,
the fact that I've thought about all these already. Like, I've had
you've got
these thoughts multiple times in my
you've got
life.
answers ready. Next question. Is it hard for you to start a conversation with someone you don't know?
No. Usually, it's pretty easy for me to. I mean, I'm like small talk. I've had a couple of years of working on that, and once the small talk finishes, I like to probe with some deeper questions.
Really?
Depending on how they react to that, will depend on how well the conversation
And
continues.
how long you talk to them.
If they don't take the bait, I withdraw the fishing rod. I say, okay, time for a new pond.
Sorry, I don't want to hear about your hairdresser appointment.
Literally.
I want to hear about your psychological wounds.
Or just your passions. That's also, I want to hear about that.
Like the weirdness is coming out. Reel it back in.
We're doing some like
doing
weird
some
like
hands.
witch fingers on the side at the moment.
Out. 10 fingers have been used.
Ay. You're gonna have so many like laughing spikes to
It's
edit.
going to
I'm
be
so
amazing.
sorry.
No, please. It's totally fine. Laith is one of the best people I know at just approaching a stranger out of nowhere and starting a conversation and being really likable. Yeah, 100%. Oh, he just gave
That's
me...
so nice.
He just gave me like, oh, really? Face. As if you don't know this about yourself.
Yeah, you
Laith-
know plenty of socially apt people.
Oh, no, but like, you're the one who like goes the fastest from stranger to, oh my gosh, I love your friend Laith, Kristen. Like, he's so great. 100%. Remember how fast my housemates loved you? Every single one of them.
I mean, fair. Like the first time they met me, I was probably lol. It was something nice. I came over for some reason.
Carols.
Maybe you were hurting or
Maybe you were hurting. Maybe you were in an FI spiral.
and I was like, time for a rescue mission.
Time for a rescue mission. Oh, goodness. Okay. In what ways do you feel misunderstood?
As an ENFJ, right? Or just as a person?
Maybe, I don't know. However you want to take that question.
I feel misunderstood. People think that, you know what? It's my fault. But a lot of the time people think that I like them. Wait. That doesn't finish there. Like them more than I truly do.
Oh,
Because I give off too many FE, like,
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah.
And-
Is that misunderstood or just toxicity?
Let's be honest, it's just toxicity. It's just
No.
underdeveloped.
Don't FE agree with me. Fight the other side.
Okay, I'll use my non-existent FI to say that, no, it's just being misunderstood.
No, go
I would
on.
never. All I want to do is make them feel good. And I just keep forgetting that, you know, like making someone feel good actually makes them feel attached as well. I just want people to, like, in the moment, I want them to feel like a hero. And like, I'll give them a compliment. Or I'll reflect on things they've been saying and I'll say something like, you've actually got this amazing sense of identity. And they'll be like, oh, I feel like, thank you, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Like, you listen to me. And then they think that outside of the conversation really
I'm
like
gonna
want to hang out with
invest in
them
a friendship with them.
all the want to have a
Yeah.
friendship or like hang. And I do. I want to, but I just don't have the capacity to be really close with friends with so many people. And
I feel like this
a lot
is
of people-
generally speaking an extrovert struggle in slightly different ways. Like
Yeah, fair,
with my
fair.
SE dom, I will have a lot of fun with people and make them have a good time, and we'll have a great night or a great time together. And then sometimes they might perceive that means we're closer friends than we are.
Such a
you
struggle.
know,
Yeah.
which I've talked about on my channel before. But so the way you feel misunderstood is that people think that you like them more than you do.
How horrible is that? Oh my gosh. But
You qualified what you
essentially.
mean. Next question. Do you genuinely want to unpack everything?
Genuinely, yes. Every single time. If someone tells me, the best thing is when someone casually drops a statement that they don't want to unpack, but I do. Something like, oh my gosh, the other day I was talking to a friend and they were like, yeah, I broke up with my partner and it was really hard and I didn't date for another 2 years after that. And I was like, and why was that? Why didn't you want to date for 2 years? And they were like, I'd rather not talk about it tonight. And I was like, that's fine. Okay, we don't have to talk about it. But in my head, I'm like, what was it? What, did they hurt you?
When someone says I'd rather not talk about it, it's like ding, 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 ding.
Seriously. It's like, okay, great, I'll respect your wishes to not talk about it. But also like, my curiosity's going crazy.
Yes, but also not just your curiosity, but also because you want to dive and like
I
work
know.
out patterns, but also because you want them for their own sake to work through the trauma so that their life
Yes.
can be better.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's
And-
like this FE cycle
Oh my
of
gosh.
like, I must make you feel comfortable, but I also want for your long-term future for you to actually unpack this stuff. Hello,
Yeah.
NI. How you doing? All right, next question. What's the limit when it comes to caring about people's affairs without it negatively affecting you?
The limit to caring about their affairs without it. The limit. What's the limit?
The limit does not exist.
Honestly. I think it comes down to being ready. Like, I'm always ready to give advice or care in the moment. So if someone comes to me and asks for my help and I'm available, I'll give it to them. And I genuinely love that and enjoy it. I think the limit is me being able to then have personal space or boundaries outside of that. So like, you know, not needing to then be on call for them to text me whenever they need to, or going out multiple times to like spend hours talking about something. Like that's where my boundary needs to come for me to remain healthy. And
Right.
like, it's not draining for me to talk to multiple people in a day and listen to them and empathize, but it is draining if they then want or request lots of extra time, because I then feel pressured to give that to them, and it drains me to say no, and it drains me to then go there and then sacrifice time from other parts of my life. So
The classic ENFJ struggle with boundaries.
all the time. All the time.
I'm now sitting here thinking of all the times I've like called you randomly on call. Like,
To clarify, I do have a number of
The
people.
hand is out again.
It's almost on my
Almost
shoulder.
touching my shoulder.
I'm just missing. A number of people, definitely you included, are on my, I'll do anything for you guys whenever. Like,
oh yeah, love that.
you're
I also
important
have a
enough to
list.
me for me to, like, that's just loving and something I love to do.
Yeah,
and it
that's
doesn't
top tier.
matter what.
Oh, love it. You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
And cute. Thanks. And I think in general, that's probably healthy for all people to understand. That it's okay to have, that top tier of people you do anything for. But, aside from that, you can't be everything to everyone.
Yeah,
right?
agreed.
And it's good to have healthy boundaries.
And I think it's good for both you and them. Because if I was to say yes to everybody all the time, like, it would be good for a short time and then I'd burn out and then I wouldn't be available for anyone.
You're unknowingly ticking off a lot of answers to some of these questions.
Oh, am I?
Yes, I love it. Efficiency. Come on down.
Read some out. What are some of the ones I've answered already?
Well, when we get to it, I'll show you,
Okay,
because I can't
okay.
remember them. I don't know where they're located on the list.
She's processed them mentally.
Yeah. Next question. Do you have a savior complex?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, yes. It's something I'm working on and trying to remember. I've also got a, personally, not all ENFJs, but me has a superiority complex.
Ooh, okay.
Did we know this about me?
I mean, I could intuit.
Goes down fourth NI, doesn't even need to be that high for her to realise.
No.
This guy's got a superiority complex.
But let's unpack that.
Savior complex first. Yeah, for sure. I feel like sometimes when I see someone and they tell me that there's something going wrong, my first reaction is, oh, like, I can help them. And then I have to remind myself that, you know, a lot of the time I can't help them. And a lot of the time they actually don't want/need my help. Well, need/want my help.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes I overextend advice, and some people, they're kind of annoyed by the fact that I just tried to help them out with something that they've already thought through, or they've already processed, or, you know, they've got their own therapist that they're talking to.
Yeah. Or a lot of people would come to you because they either just want to vent and be listened to without advice, which would kill you. You'd be like, but I have some thoughts that I want to give and some questions that I want to ask.
Literally.
Or like they just want practical solutions and you want to get to like the emotional.
I know.
Yeah, that would kill
Someone's
you.
like, what should I do? And I'm like, well, let's just take a sidestep and I'm so proud of you.
I just want to say thank you for trusting
I just
me.
want to say that's really hard. Do we need to cry?
Do we need to
I have tissues on my person. It's 24/7.
Yeah, legit. Do you actually?
I wish. No, I should start doing that.
Gosh. Legit.
I have tissues in my car all the time.
Gosh. Next question. How is your compatibility with Kristen as an ESFP, and where do your miscommunications happen?
But,
Spicy, come on down.
well, Kristen as an ESFP, there's not many people that annoy me more than Kristen.
Ooh, wow, we know that's
I'm
not
kidding, of course. Kristen and I get on like literally houses on like a town on fire. Like it's dangerous how much we get along. People around us are scared of us because the way that we act with each other,
humor. Yeah.
we turn into literal like jesters or clowns.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like when I talk to Laith, he really draws out my baby NI, and I feel like I draw out your SE, and you
for
love
sure.
to play in it.
Yeah, for sure.
Play in it like it's a baby in a puddle.
I would love to play with a baby in a puddle. That's. Oh wait, like it is the baby. Not like.
No, you're the baby having fun in a puddle. If the puddle is SE, like you get to enjoy it. You're like
Fabulous.
a child.
Yeah.
You're childlike. It's beautiful.
Amen. I think SE brings out some very childlike, just like pure wonder and fun.
Yeah.
I love SE.
Yeah. Like today, we just spent hours taking photos of us jumping in the air.
Oh my gosh. Seriously,
fun.
we orchestrated it.
Doing
so much.
different aerodynamics. It was great.
What was the question again?
Compatibility with ESFP and miscommunications.
Love ESFPs when they're self-aware, with like Kristen,
thank you.
because they bring out this gorgeous part of myself, which is my SE. I love to embrace my SE because I'm so often stuck in my head. So it's so good to be with an SE dom and to just have fun sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's super important for me to be able to switch back to the NI when we need to. So to have fun and then to have a deep chat and then to have some fun again. And
Is
Kristen
it always
does
when we
that
need to?
perfectly.
Or is it just
It's
every
just
5
always.
minutes?
Yeah, literally. When I need to. When I start to get physically drained because I haven't had a deep chat in 15 minutes.
Legit. Recently, Laith and I were unpacking some stuff that I'd been through this year, and Laith was giving me FAQs and saying, I just want to say I'm really proud of you for how you've come. Like, you've done some real introspection. And then I was like, oh, wow, I kind of feel like I've always been like this. And Laith was like, no, like, you've done immense growth. Like, you've done immense growth since I've known you. And Laith met me in 2018. So we've known each other for almost 5 years now.
Yep. And
so I said to Laith, I was like, what do you mean? Was I not like this? Like, what's the difference between when you met me in 2018 and now? And he's like, when I first met you, you were fun, but that was it.
Not one of my proudest statements.
That is direct.
Direct quote, though.
Direct
that came
quote
out of my
and
mouth.
direct inspiration for the ESFP skit in the 60 Personalities Through the Eyes of the ENFJ video.
My goodness.
And it was the first skit as well.
Fun
Direct quote.
until
was
she goes to therapy.
Until she goes to therapy, which is exactly what happened. I went to therapy and then I started to introspection. Anyway, then I started to build those patterns or realize I had the patterns.
Which we love.
We do.
So much.
We do. Next question. What is leadership to you?
Ooh. Definitely by example.
You've thought about these.
Oh,
gosh.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Lead by example. I don't believe at all that leadership should be a power dynamic. I think it should be I'm inspired by you, and so I want to emulate you kind of situation. And I think the best leaders always treat everybody like a person. I hate when I walk into a business place and there's a very clear...
Just full stop.
Just business. Modern capitalism? No, thank you. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks to retail trauma.
Oh, gosh.
But yes, in my last retail job, my manager was a very stereotypical manager, like would walk around and micromanage the people and then wouldn't do the jobs herself. Ooh. And that grinded me up the wrong way.
So Laith was just kind of following in her trails, just checking in on all the people that she talked to, like, do the job. And then she'd walk away and Laith would be like, hey, I just want you to know you're doing really well. Are you okay? She spoke to you a little bit harshly. You did that, didn't you?
You watched me?
No, I didn't. But you did, didn't you?
Did do
oh,
that.
my goodness. Classic.
Oh, my gosh. Seriously. Seriously. I'd pull them aside and I'd be like, just want to check in. How are you? I saw that conversation. At my current workplace, there's a lady who's probably like 50, like much older than me, probably doesn't at all need me to give her anything. No validation needed because she's had years to,
Oh, I think everyone needs validation. That's a different...
agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I'm sure she values you.
But same deal. I went up to her and I was like, just wanted to be like, are you okay? How are you going? I saw that conversation. It looked a little bit confrontational.
You're so sweet. Did she respond well?
Yeah.
I feel like people love that. They do.
Some people are definitely like, you're overstepping the boundary.
Okay, next question. Are ENFJs prone to burnout and what does that look like for you?
Yes.
See, I feel like we've kind of already talked about the burnout.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions.
Interestingly, from reflection from your Instagram, I noticed a lot of ENFJs and INFJs, I think, say that they get drained being around people. It's weird that our FE is actually draining to a lot of us. I mean, for me, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm around people too much, I drain myself because I'm giving too much and not thinking about myself, and I don't self-regulate.
It's all about that balance.
Yeah, it's definitely about that balance. I also feel very re-energized when I give very consciously. Like if I did a charity event, I'd feel amazing at the end of the day.
Aw, bless. Yeah, you're very giving with your time and your energy.
Thank you.
That's for sure.
Thank you.
I feel like if one does spend all of their time or too much time in their top function without just kind of in a blinded way to the other functions, it will be bad for them in some way.
True.
Yeah, you got to have that integration and that balance for sure.
I agree.
How do you personally deal with the stereotype / accusation of being fake at times? Do you think it's true to a certain extent?
I don't think it's true. I understand it. People think I'm fake because I validate people and then I don't seem to want that friendship later on. I don't view that as fake. I just view that as wanting someone to feel respected for who they are as a person. And that doesn't need to then correlate to a friendship in my eyes. I think people can just be respectful and kind to people and they don't have to be friends. But yeah, I get that people think I'm fake, and if they think I'm fake, like, that's fine. I can't change everyone's opinion.
Yeah. Have you ever found that, like, you'll be talking to someone and you'll be giving them so much time and energy, like in your FE way, but you're not actually, like, in your head, you're kind of like, this person isn't actually someone that I would want to have a friendship with. I'm kind of just enjoying this moment. And so because you're so friendly and kind and affirming to them, that's what other people would perceive as fake if you don't actually internally think that they are that amazing or that you want a friendship with them. Right. But so can you talk a little bit into that and how that isn't fake?
Yeah. If I'm giving people like FEQs, like good eye contact and the ums, or like repeating statements back to them.
Love it.
That's always genuine because I believe that in that moment they deserve to be listened to, And if their story's interesting to me, then my reactions will be big, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool! Like, tell me more about this thing."
Yeah.
And that's all genuine. I'm just a big personality.
Yeah.
But that's all genuine in the moment, and I am super interested to learn about it. And I can have the thought, like, you seem really cool, but not like someone I'd be friends with. But it doesn't change the fact that in the moment I'm still gonna give them the big reactions and the validating looks and statements, things like that. And I can again understand that if someone looking might judge it as fake, but to me that's just because they have a different understanding of what it is to be genuine or to be a friend or to give compliments. They've got a different conceptualization of what that is and does not entail.
Because to a lot of people, that amount of affirmation verbally and compliments and attention would be superfluous. Like they wouldn't do it very often, and people would have to earn that. It would be a big deal for them to say things like that. So but
true.
then again, this is why it's good to understand the cognitive functions and the differences. And it's not like I've never ever thought that you were fake. I honestly can't remember a single time where I've thought like, oh, Laith's being fake right now, because you literally just actually want that person to feel amazing in the moment. I've seen that so much, and the respect you have for people and their humanity and their autonomy and their own passions and their journey, like it's so genuine, it's so real. I can relate to that with just from an SE perspective. Like I can have a whole day with someone. Like I've met strangers overseas where I'll just spend the day with them. We'll go see some sights, we'll go do some things, have a good day, right, overseas.
Fun SE day.
Yeah, fun SE day, right?
Love it.
Or like a group of people, and then by the end I'll be like, oh, okay, like it's nice to meet you, and I'll like very happily just be like,
Bye.
I know I'm never going to see you again, but that's fine. Like I won't say that to them. And like I can sense when it's mutually understood that that's the case. And with a lot of travelers, they are often like really quite whimsical, that kind of stuff. The travelers I've encountered. So I can totally relate to the idea of just like sort of having moments with people with that first function that are really intense in their own way, but don't necessarily have to mean that you're going to be friends forever. But like they're no less fake.
Yes,
like my moments I had with those people, sorry, that took me a while to get out.
It's okay.
Those moments I had with those people were really genuine, and I will remember a lot of them for life, like, or the feeling of them or whatever. And sometimes, we'll add each other on Facebook or whatever, but it's like no less real.
No less real.
That word. the repetition of my sentences back to me. Loving it. You're nailing it.
Drop it the cues.
Yeah. What are you most proud of yourself for, and what are you most insecure about?
Come down.
We can also skip this question if you want.
I actually have answered this question again because this is because I've got that journal, that 365-day journal. Yeah. One of the questions is, what's your proudest achievement? Proudest achievement so far to date is finishing my thesis last
amazing.
year.
Very cool.
I think because that was just like a whole new level of mental strain, and it was really self-driven. Like I didn't really depend on anyone else to get. I used a lot of support from various people, but ultimately it was me who made that. It was like my baby.
Yeah, that was a season of growth for you, I feel like.
Oh, huge. Because I was going through so much at the time, not just the thesis.
Oh yeah, wow.
Lockdown and breakup and
absolutely.
Yikes.
But
we came out stronger.
We did.
And then what? Security was the other one. Insecurity.
Insecurity, yeah.
Oh. Biggest insecurity. My toes.
Are you serious? That can't be.
No, it's not actually.
It is.
It's one of them, but it's not the biggest.
Can I leave that in?
Yeah, of course you can leave it in. Geez, biggest insecurity. It's weird, but I think it's my intelligence. Even though I view myself as an intelligent person, if people try to tell me that I'm not smart, it makes me instantly angry. There's not many things in this world that make me angry.
Do people often try to tell you you're not smart?
No, not often, but just sometimes. And every time, without fail, like my family.
I'll find them. Call out. No. Aww.
I know.
I feel like I've heard. Oh, I'm not going to assume I've heard.
What have you
What your family
heard?
said. I think I'm doing empath face right now, even though I'm talking about you and your insecurity. I've heard Damo say that you're smart.
Yeah, they all think I'm like book smart, but I don't know if they were to say that I had no street smarts or if someone... Oh, I've got an INTJ friend.
Oh, that should be enough. No need to finish that sentence.
Literally. Yeah, sometimes I get angry at him.
We just did 10 fingers.
We did.
Oh, goodness.
If you're listening, love you. Also love that you challenged me.
The affirmation of validation through the microphone to a person who may or may not be listening.
Probably will not
Tick
be
in that
listening. To all my INTJs out there, love you all. In fact, that's everybody listening right now.
A lot of INTJs.
Obligatory affirmation.
Love it. Do you think that has something to do with your TI inferior?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Tell me more about that. How does it?
Well, it could be you have this judging function that's very much about this set of logically consistent rules and protocols you've built up within yourself that you have taken pride in building, but because you use FE, that obviously comes first at the expense of that, what that internal judgment system that you're using, because it's like it's like a baby, it's your fourth function.
Yep.
And so you're constantly living in this world where your FE is just running the show, so you're constantly putting that's constantly taking a back seat. That TI is taking a back seat.
Yeah.
And so people perceive you as this person who just exists for others.
Right.
And not with your own independent, autonomous self and independence and brain. And that could be where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Also, there's a lot of thought that the fourth function obviously is the aspirational function. Like I have insecurities about my NI for sure.
Really?
So yeah, I often go into a tailspin, having drawn the wrong conclusion about something, or believing that some particular outcome is going to happen, and then Marie, my ENTJ housemate, has to often be like, Kristen, you understand that's like one of the least likely scenarios, right? But I'll go into like a tailspin about it. Yeah, and then when she points that stuff out, I get really insecure about it.
Oh,
yeah.
Shame.
Not so much anymore since I've like done quite a bit of growth and I understand that about myself. I can kind of laugh about it.
Nice.
But yeah, back in the dizzy, not fun. So.
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to think more about that too.
Yeah, love it. Have a think. Any struggles with being an ENFJ male in an ST male-dominated society?
Oh, I think if you're out there listening, hopefully I get this correct. It seems like that question means, is there anything tough for me being an ENFJ male, considering the fact that most males are STs?
Yeah.
I definitely feel isolated for that. Like I feel like most men I meet I can't relate to because they don't share a lot of my priorities in terms of, for me, my priority is caring for people and thinking deeply about stuff. And I feel like a lot of guys that I meet, it's not so much about other people, more about them, or it's more about like things rather than people or logic. And often it's not about the deep dive, it's more surface level.
And also you're very open and happy to talk about feelings and emotional things.
Yeah,
whereas STs would be less likely.
So I think, disclaimer, I feel like if I was straight, that would impact me a lot more because I feel like I see ST males a lot more in the heterosexual male community. But being gay, I've already found a community of queer guys, and pretty much everybody there is much more. From my personal experience, I found that they're much more likely to be in touch with the emotions / willing to show vulnerability, which gels better with me. I still find that a lot of them are not willing to deep dive. We can unpack that more later. No.
Do you ever feel burdened from dealing with other people's problems? We kind of answered that. See, you've kind of like answered these.
Yeah, that's good. I'm actually feeling a bit of self-shame because we haven't hit all the questions in the time. I was like, yeah, we'll be efficient today.
Stop.
So
don't feel
good.
self-shame.
That's it.
We're
Go
only
through
on to
them.
Question number
them.
20.
20.
How do you experience your inferior Ti?
Oh, great question. I really struggle to consciously know how I experience my inferior Ti, and Ti is one of the functions I don't understand super well. But I believe, in fact, do you want to give me a real quick rundown of what? Or Ti is logical systems and putting things into categories. Yeah, right.
It's the subjective categorization that you don't rely on the tribe for at all. It's to make personal judgments. It's based on logical rules. It's why your extroverted function is the one that's objective, and this is your subjective function. So if extroverted feeling, because it's extroverted, is less personal. Your TI logical systems are personal.
It's definitely something I'm still trying to understand and get more in touch with, and hopefully will get more in touch with as I grow. I think there are parts of me that I recognize come from that. Like, for example, I've got certain philosophical beliefs that I align myself with, which are like universal rules. And a lot of the time, if I've got a big decision to make, I'll try to find a universal rule to apply to it.
Would you be able to give an example?
Yes. So the question of morality and ethics and what is good and bad, that has been a big question for my whole life. I mean, I had Christianity for a long time to tell me what was right and wrong, and then I left that, and so I had to find a new way to define morally good and bad. Yeah, so currently my thoughts are I tend to lean towards a thing called the social contract, which is this theory that people in society sign this unwritten contract where they'll only do things that they wish were done back from everybody else. So like, if you wouldn't lie, if you don't want everyone to lie, then you can't lie either. That's a very summarized version of the social contract.
Yeah,
Can look more into that later if anyone's curious. It's also flawed. It's not perfect, and I'm looking for a better way to define morally right and wrong.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's one kind of example. Maybe.
Well, the TI is the function I struggle the most to. Obviously, I don't understand it or value it. I don't understand it in ENFJs either, to be honest. Sometimes I'm like, I think we didn't even really talk about the miscommunications between ESFPs and ENFJs, but like sometimes I feel like there's a slight dissonance in how we judge things personally between you and I, but it's hard to put my finger on, but I appreciate it. I find that one of the greatest things about chatting with Laith is that I can talk about something that's I'm passionate about or personal value, and Laith doesn't sit there trying to change my mind.
Right.
Whereas I feel like if you were an FI user, there'd be a bit more fire behind that.
Yeah, probably.
You know.
I love when you've got different opinions, and the only time I'll try to change your mind is if I believe your opinion's hurtful to others.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to have to wrap it up real soon because we are time restrained.
Classic.
This guy has some plans that he has to go to as an FE Dom. As a J, he's got plans, always got them.
Oh my gosh.
The last question, I feel like this is a good one to end on for our peeps.
Okay, good.
Hugely common question. A lot of people ask this. Tips on how to make people open up to you in friendships / relationships, and tips on how to FE better.
Okay. So I'm assuming this is coming from someone who's got baby FE or third FE who wants to use it more. My first response to that is slight problem with the word making. Making someone open up to you, I would say rather than make them, you should help them feel that they can open up to you. Help them feel safe to open up to you as opposed to make them. That's a problem that I've had for a long time. I often try to make people open up to me, and then that's what causes people to come back to me like days later and be like, you actually made me talk about something I didn't want to talk about. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
It's like, I met you last night and I was fine. Today I realised there's all these wounds that I have.
Literally.
Where did that come from?
They're like, you just left me out to dry afterwards.
You ruined my life.
So, to answer the question, I would say the best way to help someone feel that they can open up to you, first and foremost, absolutely 100%, is if they talk to you about anything, whether it's something deeply personal to them or an idea or an experience in their life, do not assign judgment to that. Do not tell them like that was good or bad. Do not, it's like, don't project your own personal value or opinion onto it. Just validate and say, like, thank you for sharing, or wow, that sounds hard, or that sounds like you pushed through something that was difficult. Well done. Help them know that it's a judgment-free zone, and once they realize that, then they'll feel, oh, actually, like, this guy is willing to listen to me, and they'll be more willing to open up to you. Another great way to do it is to open up yourself, because if people...
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about this on your vulnerability 5 days video recently. If you share a vulnerable story, then people will feel, oh, like he's given me something. He's given me a little piece of himself. I can give a little piece back, and
love it.
We'll hold each other's, and we'll trust. We'll trust that. And then how to be a better FE, was that the other part of that question?
Like how to FE better.
Best way to FE better is just to
use FE.
Just to
magically
use FE. Yeah. No, just make sure that you help people feel that they're a worthy person.
Just provide that safe space in however it looks like to you.
Seriously,
right?
yeah.
Because for a lot of people, it would feel quite inauthentic to say those things, and you don't have to say all those things all the time to all the people.
For sure.
But those tips are really good for helping people who maybe are close to you in your life. Maybe they are F users. Maybe whatever the case. People just generally like to feel heard and appreciated. Whatever your relationship looks like, someone's going to appreciate you showing validation and providing that safe space.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
100%. But those are really good tips.
Thank you.
Really good tips how to FE better. And the thing is, we all care. We don't have to use FE to care. Isn't that right, Laith?
Amen.
Amen.
And often people who don't use FE, they do care. It's just
100%.
It's just hard to see sometimes.
INTJs, ISTJs, they care. They really do. They do care.
No, kidding. We love.
We do love. Anyway, on that note, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We lost track of time, got a bit out of hand there.
Classic
us.
us.
It was great. Classic us. We're going to have to head. If you like this episode, let us know. Might get Laith back on the podcast to have more chats. There are like 40 other questions that we didn't answer.
So disappointed in myself.
But our ENFP and ENTP friends have entered the building. So they are already on an NE journey on the couch right now. So we are going to end the podcast. Guys, come say hello to the microphone.
Hello. Hello from over here.
You're famous.
Okay, we have 2 NE users coming, so this is going to
get ready for.
This is going to escalate. Hello, that is the ENFP, Danny.
Hello.
And that's Riley, the ENTP. What do you guys like the most about Laith's personality?
He's warm and welcoming, and very trustworthy.
Oh,
That's so nice.
Riley's like,
Yeah, on the spot. I was going to compliment his hair. Yeah, it was great hair.
Best thing about his
Fantastic hair.
personality, the guy's hair.
The guy's hair.
That's how great I am as a person.
all right, on that note, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Laith, for being on the podcast.
Thank you,
It's an
Kristen.
absolute pleasure to have you. I hope you had fun.
I did. Of course. It's always nothing but fun with you. I mean, jokes. That was past you. That was 2018 you.
2018, Kristen, was only fun.
Nothing but fun. 2022, Kristen.
Yeah.
Fun and deep.
Fun and deep.
We love.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening, guys. It was a lot of fun to record with Laith, and hopefully we'll be having him back on the podcast sometime soon to finish answering those questions that you submitted. If you liked this episode, please consider following the podcast, and if you're on a podcast platform that allows ratings, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop us a rating. If you're interested in checking out more MBTI content, please head over to my YouTube channel, Dear Kristen, or my Instagram page, dear.kristen, that's Kristin, if you'd like to see some of my favourite comments from YouTube, and if you want to participate in my type trend polls. Until next time, thanks guys, and have a wonderful day.